going to set the recording up. And we'll give it a minute or so just for people to join. Slight delay, so we'll... Fantastic. Looks like it's going well. When we first started doing this, the first 2 or 3, we were having some technical problems. And I think at that time, Zoom was at the kind of peak where everybody was using it. And we had one session where it was like a global, there was a global church thing going on. All of the sermons were being done through Zoom from some of the biggest churches globally. Someone from the group let us know. And we had such a problem trying to go live on that day. It was just, but thankfully in the last few ones we've not had any technical issues.
Well, Facebook's bloody awful.
Yeah.
Broadcast.
That is a cool background now, I've got to say.
It's working well, isn't it? Once I've got that green screen up, it'll be impeccable. But it's still working. Nice.
Still working, yeah. Okay, we've got some people joining.
Makes me kind of homesick for Hong Kong.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Don't know when we'll get back there. It's just crazy. Next few months.
Well, I was planning a big school trip out to the village in North China, then down into Foshan, and then Hong Kong in August of this year. But obviously that's been backburnered until next year now.
Right. Where's the village situated? In Guangzhou or?
No. The founding village is in a big area near Beijing called Hebei.
Ah, yeah, Hebei.
Right. And so then within Hebei you have a district area or a county called Xiongxian, and within Xiongxian you have a small farming village called Guzhuangtou. Now, Guzhuangtou means the lonely village, because it was a very lonely, out on its own farming village.
Yeah.
And that's where our system originates back to.
Wow.
So I train in the founding village with the founding families and what have you.
Brilliant.
Wow. Fantastic.
And it's very rustic, very back to basics.
Yeah.
When I was first there, no plumbed in toilets.
Yeah, I've been there.
You're doing that now, aren't you? Okay, we've got people.
Back to nature.
Hey Steve, hey Joe, hey Kevin, hey Terry, thanks for joining.
Yeah, Steve and Steve.
Hey Lionel. Give it another minute or so, let people join, and then we'll make a start.
Yep, that's all good. Hope Lionel's well. I keep seeing his posts popping up here, there, and everywhere.
Sifu Paul's at the school today. He's sorting some things out at the school today, so he said he's going to be there till 3, but he said he'll try and join afterwards. So hopefully, but if not, I messaged him and said he can watch the recording afterwards as well.
Yeah, I did see him post up saying that he was at the school till 3. I'm at the school now, so I've come in to do this with you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it as well. It's great to have someone of your caliber on here,
I don't know about that, but
no.
We all try and do our little bit to support the traditional Chinese martial arts. The more of us that do it, the better it is for the community.
Yeah, exactly.
the same as I do that event every 2 years now, which you guys came to last year, which was
Yeah, that was
fantastic.
really good. Really enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
it was. And it's great. It's great to actually see stuff, other traditional stuff. I'll ask later, actually. Is there any links? Do you have any links with the Southern Eagle systems? Or
Well, the Southern Eagle Claw system that I am aware of and know of is through Taiwan. And that's Gamyingzhao, Golden Eagle.
Right.
And I've not really found many people in the southern area of China doing the Golden Eagle. Only seems to be predominantly within Taiwan.
Right.
Because I have a few teachers that I study with. One of them is called Kenneth Fish, who I've known since the early 90s as well. His primary systems are Xingyi, Wuxing Tongbei, 5-element Tongbei through the back boxing.
Yeah.
And he spent 15 years in Taiwan. Speaks and reads Mandarin perfectly to a very high standard, and is extremely well connected through the old martial arts schools like Hong Yizhang was his Xingyi teacher. He knew Gandak Hoi, the Monkey King, who taught Chan Cao in Hong Kong, so he was friends with him. Liao Wuzhang, who was very famous for Northern Shaolin and praying Mantis out in Taiwan. He knew a Northern Shandong Eagle Claw teacher called Zhong Fusheng, but he also knew the Gamying Kun, the Gamying Zhao people in Taiwan, and that's the Golden Eagle people.
Yeah.
And they're very, very similar to a lot of the southern styles
Right.
that you see around, and they do use the 3-finger claw.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen.
Which you kind of see in the movies. Is like, you know, you see the 3 fingers. That's what people visually identify with as eagle claw.
I always thought that was Northern.
Nope. No.
That's in. I've learned something. I always thought the 3 fingers was the Northern, and the main, you know, the claw, 5-finger claw was the Southern version. But
no, Northern version.
Every day.
Yeah, the Northern version is this.
Right.
There's a much more closed fist.
Yeah.
Closed hand. This is a Northern version. This 3-finger is the Southern style. I mean, there are people in China that kind of do this 3-finger stuff, but it's not the system that I know, and we can trace our family lineage right the way back.
Right.
And it's the method that's been used in all the northern provinces.
Brilliant.
Well,
I've learned something there.
Let's kick off. And
Dave Stevens says hello, and Lionel.
Hi, Dave.
And,
Lionel, hello.
Sando, yeah, there's a few people saying hello to you. So,
hello everybody. Best wishes. I can't see quite who's on. We got Sando. Hello. Good afternoon. Spencer's just joined. Lionel's there.
Welcome.
Steve. Hi, Steve Worcester. How you doing? Hi, Steve Hayes. Yeah, I'll try and be polite as best I can.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll try and do that for you, but it can always be done afterwards. But.
All right, welcome everyone. Really pleased today to have Sifu Julian Dao. For the past 36 years, he has been practicing traditional Chinese martial arts, studying both internal and external Chinese arts. He has the honor of being the first and only Westerner to be accepted as a family lineage disciple to Eagle Claw founding village in Hebei province, China. His area of specialty is the Eagle Claw Kung Fu system known as Yingjiao Fanzi Chuan. And it is a system that he's passionately dedicated to in both his own learning, but also in passing on the skills of past masters to his students and through his school. Really happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure.
And you as well. Fantastic.
You're
really
welcome.
Really excited to learn about Eagle Claw Kung Fu. We just had one thing cleared up with the fish shape out.
Yeah.
Bringing up Kung Fu movies. But fantastic. Thank you for joining us. So, Sifu Julian, please tell us a little bit about you, your martial arts background, and how you found your style.
I started Chinese martial arts in England when I was 17 in a local area. I did a couple of years of what they call Chinese kickboxing, which was full contact and semi-full contact sanshou. From there, you know, I started my interest in the Chinese martial arts came from the early TV programs, like many of us, like the Water Margin and early Jackie Chan films and so forth. So after a couple of years of doing the Sansao, I wanted to kind of get deeper into what was real Chinese Kung Fu. So fortunate to find a northern Shaolin, northern style system in the area that had tenuous links back to Hong Kong. And I just got more and more hungry for it. And then I guess it must have been about 2021. Right, where is it? Where do I go to get this stuff? Okay, well, this northern branch that I was training in had tenuous links to Hong Kong. So, right, Hong Kong it is. So before the days of mobile phones and Google Maps and all that sort of stuff, I got an open-ended 6-month return ticket to Hong Kong. I'd never left the country before. The furthest I'd been overseas was the Isle of Wight. I'd never been on a plane before. I had one university friend over here. Her parents and she were from Hong Kong. She helped me find somewhere to stay in Hong Kong. And I managed to track down the name and address of the Hong Kong Chinese Martial Arts Association. And that was it. Got on a plane and off I toddled.
Wow.
Wow. Really brave. How old were you? How old were you then?
About 20.
Right. It's a big move. It's a big step, isn't it?
Big step, yeah. Really big step. Yeah.
Well, it was because I knew nobody. You know, the closest I'd got to eating Chinese food was the local Chinese. I'd seen the stuff in the movies. I didn't know where I was going, what I was doing, who I was going to meet, who I was going to see. Didn't know anything. But wow. I was just determined, and I was hungry for and passionate about, if you want to get the skill, you've got to go to the place where it is. So, yeah, everybody around me thought I was absolutely nuts. And they just couldn't get it, couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
I was driven.
Was your first stop the Hong Kong Chinese Martial Arts Association? Was that where you first went?
Absolutely. I didn't have anything else. I just had this bit of paper, literally like a Post-it note, Hong Kong Chinese Martial Arts Association. So yeah, I turned up there like some Chi Sing Guai Lo, knock, knock, knock. Uh-oh, I've come to learn Kung Fu. So, can you help me? And that was it. And then I met Lung Kai Ming, who was the vice president. I was very sadly, I just missed the passing of the old, very famous master there of Honggar, Chan Hongzhong, who was, as we know, Sifu Jimaglo's Sifu was Chan Hongzhong.
Yes.
And I think I met, I'm pretty sure I met Sifu Chan's son on that same day, Edward Chan. Yeah, I just kind of started getting into stuff from there, really. I'd be up in the mountains, up in Clearwater Bay by about 5:30 in the morning training with Lung Kai Ming, who I got very friendly with. He was a very eclectic and very funny character. Yeah, very, very funny character. And I got to meet a lot of other Sifus and other bits and pieces. Got some links into some eagleclaw, because eagleclaw was something I was really, really passionately interested in. And that's where I started actually getting into seeing the Hong Kong branch of eagleclaw.
Right.
And in 1994-ish, I started with a teacher from the Hong Kong branch of eagleclaw and threw myself into that relentlessly. I was traveling backwards and forwards to Hong Kong at that time as well. But then that particular teacher was then residing in the USA, California way. So then I'd go and live with that teacher and train 6 days a week for 8 hours a day, 4 2-hour sessions a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's full on.
And the training was relentlessly hard. Very good physically. Very, very good training, and I enjoyed that training for many years. But again, when we're on the path of knowledge, we need to progress and move forwards, constantly moving forwards. Because if you stand still, you die. You've got to grow and develop, both as a person, with the teacher, with the system. So in 2006, I started going into China to trace the system back from Hong Kong, which is the branch that I started with. Then I went into Guangzhou, Foshan, then across up into Shanghai, then from Shanghai up to Beijing, down into Tianjin, and then across to Hebei, and then to get to the source. So I was the first Westerner to do a historical research journey from where Hong Kong, where eagle claw really kind of spread to the west, which was from Hong Kong. So I traced it all the way back through. I followed its journey. Hong Kong, Guangzhou, Foshan, some people in Hangzhou as well, which we'll talk about later because that's where my Tai Chi teacher is. From Hangzhou to Shanghai, Shanghai to Beijing, then Tianjin and Xiongxian, which is where it's from. So that was an interesting journey, seeing the many different, as we were talking a little bit earlier, flavors and personal idiosyncrasies within the system. And to see how it gave me a very broad view to see how it changed from the source village, and how it developed within certain groups, with certain aesthetics and things like that. The system evolved quite a lot when it came down to Shanghai Jingwu. So when Shanghai Jingwu was set up in 1902, I think it was, by the group with Huo Yanjia, they invited other teachers to come in and help strengthen the nation through physical exercise and martial arts. So one person that came in and said they would help with a number of others. I think there was Lo Guanyu, there was Zhan Zicheng, who was from Eagle Claw. He's from a neighboring village called Lilingzhuang, because our village is called Guzhuangtou. So Eagle Claw then became very popular in Shanghai. And in Shanghai, it was a big melting pot. So some of the Eagle Claw routines developed flavors or grew out of that era. So you had, I think it was Yip Liu Ting from Mizhong in Shanghai as well, and he went down to Hong Kong later. So some of the routines became larger frame, which is very good for training the body and developing the flexibility and elasticity within the body.
Yeah.
So as I travelled further back up to the village, I could see that the flavour of Eagle Claw was becoming different. It was the same but different, and the emphasis on its training was different. And it was kind of going back to the original essence of the idea and methodology and practice. So it became a little bit rougher, a little bit tougher, a little bit less. We don't care how good it looks. We just care how good it works.
Yeah.
You know, the emphasis was different, and that's what I wanted. I wanted the system that we read about in the old stories and how good the Eagle Claw people were. And so then when I really started to uncover what I'd been thinking about in terms of, well, why is it done this way? Why isn't it done that way? Or why do they do it this way here? Why do they do it that way there? I found what I was looking for. So I left the Hong Kong branch of Eagle Claw and dedicated myself, as much as I dedicated before, into really getting the essence of the system. And I found it open up in ways that I wasn't aware of, and skills and methods that I hadn't seen anywhere else. So yeah, I'd arrived. It took me a long time to get there, but I'd arrived where I wanted to be.
I mean, Eagle Claw is probably one of the most famous styles from northern China, and it goes back it has a long history. For those that might not know about Eagle Claw or may have most of their learning from movies, can you talk a little bit about the style, how it is as a system?
Yeah, well, it through historical records, the root source of the system is attributed back to Yu Fei. Yu Fei, as many of us know, was a very famous Chinese general within the Song dynasty. And his army and troops were taught something called Yu Shi Sanshou. Yu Shi Sanshou is Yu family free fighting. It was military short line drills designed to finish your opponent as quickly as possible if you'd lost your weapon. So the battlefield soldiers training. So it was very short rows, very short drills, all designed to develop quick, fast, effective fighting skills. So if we look at the kamna, nafa, or the seizing and catching methods, soldiers in those days were lightly armored. They'd have arm piece, shoulder, or what have you. So the easiest way to disable your opponent was to go for the vulnerable areas in between the armor linking, neck, here, anywhere where there's vulnerable areas. So it was very quickly a striking, throwing, breaking system. And that's where it traces its roots back to. From the Yu Shan or Yu family method, that method of grabbing and seizing and the military skills were taken into Shaolin Temple, where they were further refined by the many different masters there, and they were retained and kept within a very small pocket, and only sort of within, because they got the 72 arts, the 72 skills within Shaolin. But the Yu Shan was kept as it was. Later on, we kind of come to the point in time where it reached our family. So the founder of our system is known as Liu Shijun, and he was from our village, Guduangtou, in Xiongxian. He was a traveling tobacco salesman. He already knew a system called Ba Fan Shou, which is 8 flashing palms. Fan also means flash or rotate, turn over. So for people who've heard of something called Qiujia Fanzituan, Fanzituan is a northern system that has a lot of rotating methods of kicking. So Ba Fan Shou is 8 flashing or 8 rotating palms, hands. And this is where people get confused with acrobatics, because they say, oh, it's a very acrobatic system. No, it's wrong. Wrong word. They've taken the word tumbling and gone, oh, tumbling like acrobatics. It's not. It means to turn over, rotate.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a method of kicking rather than like...
No, it's a method. It's a method and principle that extends within the whole system.
Right.
So the framework that I used there was something called Qiujia Fanzituan. Fanzituan is a very large frame body method. And when people talk about Fanzituan, they think of a kicking system, because there is a specific system called Qiujia Fanzituan.
Right.
Yeah? So Liu Shijun was already, so we've gone from Yufei Yu Shan to Shaolin Temple. From Shaolin Temple, it came to Liu Shijun. Liu Shijun knew Ba Fan Shou, 8 flashing or 8 rotating palms, and Liu Hetuan, 6 harmony fist. Already very good. He was a traveling tobacco salesman and used to push a big cart full of tobacco and travel around selling tobacco. So near Xiongxian is an area called Tianjin, which I'll come back to later in the story about my other teachers, in reference to Wuxing, Tongbei, and Xingyi and other bits and pieces. In Tianjin, and I've been to the location where this happened. There's a Buddhist temple called Maozhou, and it was a thunderstorm. So Liu Shijun took refuge in the Buddhist temple there, and it was a, you know, when they have storms in the north, they're pretty rough. So he was there for a couple of days and nothing else to do, sheltered from the rain, so he practiced. So there was, in that temple were 2 monks. Their names were Fa Xing and Dou Ji. And there, again, there's a little bit of historical discrepancy on exactly what their names were and who they were. But they were Buddhist monks. They knew the Yu Shan, and they said to Liu Shijun, oh, your kung fu is pretty good, but no good for fighting. At which point, and Liu Shijun had been around the block and was already quite good at what he did. He kind of took a little bit of umbrage to that and said, really? Okay, let's try. So he tried 3 times, was defeated and easily controlled by Dou Ji and Fa Xing, at which point he kowtowed and said, teach me, because it's very good. So then the Fa Xing Dou Ji taught him the Yu Shan, which he then amalgamated and brought together with the Ba Fan Shou and 6 harmony boxing they already knew. And that's where our system really consolidated.
Right.
Wow, that's interesting.
That's fascinating. Yeah, it's a fascinating story. It's a fascinating journey you did as well. That tracing. It's a kind of major epic kind of journey to trace the system back to its origin.
Yeah, it was like, it was instead of journey to the west, like
journey to the east.
Journey to the east with the Guaylo, you know. It was very worthwhile doing because I met some really good eagle claw family all the way through.
Right.
And like we were saying earlier, you know, different people will have a slightly different slant on the emphasis and the skill. So it was a very broadening and deepening journey for me. I will be writing about it at some point. It's very overdue, the books. Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting, and I've made a tremendous amount of very good eagle claw friends and family. In Foshan, there was in Cantonese they call him a Daisiba, yeah, one of my Daisiba, Da Shubo. He was 95, the oldest living eagle claw practitioner in the world at that time.
Right.
Wow.
Incredible.
He was about 4'10", something like that.
Yeah.
He was tiny. The sweetest, loveliest man you've ever met. He'd been practicing since 1936 and never missed a day.
Wow. Astonishing.
And very sadly, he got hit by a car at a pedestrian crossing in Foshan and died last year.
Oh.
That was awful.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Did you find that the essence, the primary essence of the system was retained mostly in all the places that you travelled, or some kind of?
I met many very good practitioners, very, very skilled people, all with very good approach and very good understanding in the way that they did things. It is different from what we do behind closed doors in the village. Yeah, it is different.
Right.
It's the same, but there's keys that we have in the village.
Yeah.
Are quite unique, and those keys are behind the door.
Yeah. It's a worthwhile journey then.
Very much so. So to really kind of have all these amazing eagle claw practitioners as friends, and I haven't met as many as I'd like to. I don't have as much time as I did then because I'm just focused on what I'm doing with my Sifu and Shifu in the village. So I spend, all my time there. But that journey was, and I did it twice to do further and more deeper research.
Right.
Yeah, so it was very worthwhile.
Yeah.
I like journeys like that. So
yeah, they're enriching and like
I think so. Yeah.
And you met so many people, and it can only inform your teaching, your learning, and your style as well, as in your own family style.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was able to connect my Daisiba and his group in Foshan with my teacher in Guzhangkou. So, now we help to bring all the various connections and everybody's all good. So it's a very big family in China now.
That's really good. When you first landed in Hong Kong, did you already have an eagle claw in mind, or did you go there thinking, I want to further my training? And then did you?
I already had eagle claw in mind because the group that I was with over here in the UK, they were a little bit of an eclectic mix of stuff. There within that group, they did Buxulam, Northern Shaolin. They did Tonglong, Northern Chatsing Tonglong, 7-star praying mantis. They did Northern eagle claw. There was a little bit of Hongar in there. So the guy had lots of bits, but nothing complete.
So just around that time, was eagle claw in the UK at that time or not? Was anyone in London, or was it anywhere else? Or
not that I'm really aware of. No, there wasn't anybody who was teaching the system.
Right.
I don't believe anybody in the UK was teaching the system completely at that time. The only group that I'd come across was a group that I was involved with, but they had an eclectic mix of different things. And we all know that one of the problems that we see now within modern wushu, or the modern approach to martial arts, is top sui. There's no flavor to it. Every system has its own energy. There's a method and a way, and you should be able to identify it immediately. This system, that system, even this northern style, you should be able to say this or that northern style. But when you mix you know, Praying Mantis and Eagleclaw and Northern Shaolin and Hongar and other bits and pieces, and Cholifat, you get the stance work from here and you get the method from there. It's just a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess. And that became apparent relatively quickly, purely by research and study and reading and looking. Because if you want to get good at something, you've just got to really be bloody minded about continually pushing forward. So I wanted to get further into a complete system. That's why I went to Hong Kong. And I wanted to get further into a complete system. That's why I went into China. And now I have found everything that I was looking for.
Wow, amazing. So do you see much difference between Shaolin eagleclaw, where this is when I first learned about eagleclaw, was seeing the Shaolin forms and the Shaolin movement of eagleclaw, and the village style that you do, or even throughout your journey?
Okay, so all I'll say about Shaolin eagleclaw is I'll recount what my Shifu said to me, that about 20 years ago, the Shaolin temple approached our village because they knew our eagleclaw was passed through them to us. After the Cultural Revolution, Shaolin, we know categorically, was just ruins. There was maybe 4 or 5 monks left. There was no martial arts. It was all gone into the hills and gone away. So when they were trying to rebuild the martial arts curriculum, our family were approached and asked to go back to the temple and teach. And this is my Shifu's answer: you lost it once, we're not giving it back to you.
Wow.
Door closed, that's it.
Wow. Brutal. Savage.
Yeah, that was the answer from our village. You lost it once, we're not giving it back to you.
Wow.
So the Shaolin eagleclaw is their method. I can't comment on it because I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
All I know is what we have in the village, and what the Shaolin method is different.
So what was your early training like? I mean, what were you doing? I mean, were you doing a lot of work, a lot of...
The body work, the early years of my eagleclaw training, the body work, the physical training was all around the Ji Ben Gong, the foundation body methods and skills. And the teacher was very good at those, had very good body skill, physical skill.
Work a lot of...
The body work, the early... Who's that? Is that Dave?
Sorry, no, that's... I think that was you on my mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
It's a bit weird there.
Yeah.
So all the form training, all the Ji Ben Gong, all the kicking, all the stance work, and all the physical training, that's what it was based around. The weapon work and things like that. So that really gave me a very good platform of physical training for when I was in China in 2006 onwards, to get into the depth of the other material, which is what I wanted, and that's where I focused on. So yeah, I mean, it was very beneficial to me. It was very good training in those days, and really enabled me physically to move straight into the old family village system without having to do anything else.
Is there a strong emphasis in the early stages on the actual eagleclaw method and strengthening, or is it really primarily like, oh no, you don't start with eagleclaw, you start with stance, you start with strengthening the body, then you move to the kind of using the eagleclaw and because the styles seems to be very based on, as you were saying, joint locks and using the claw and a number of kicks. So are you learning that stuff early on, or does it come?
You learn the Ji Ben Gong has to cover a number of areas. As we were discussing earlier, that different people will focus on different aspects and different elements in accordance with their character, their physical self, and so forth. So the emphasis on certain areas was very big within the Hong Kong branch, and other areas was not very big. In the north, in China, excuse me, the emphasis is much more on the eagle claw skills as opposed to the it's just different. It's the same stuff, but they have this depth of other material, that how to train the ligaments and the tendons, how to apply it. Even the hand shape is different. They use different striking fist shapes, like the fungang, the phoenix eye that you guys use. We have it in eagle claw, or we have it in the village.
Yeah.
Ah.
But yeah, because it's all for dim-up, dim-yut.
Yeah. Interesting.
And in the village, they have all the old charts. They have all the old training methods that weren't lost at all within the Cultural Revolution, or the migration out of the village into other areas. So they have all of what we call the chuanpu, or you got in Cantonese kunpo, the old the manuals, the manuscripts.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's quite rare as well, I think.
It is, because they take it with absolute seriousness. You know, they're bloody minded about it, because it's their lineage. And they don't even, or I say we, the family, we refer to our eagle claw as something called the Zuteng Yingzhao. Zuteng means ancestral. So our eagle claw that we practice in the house behind the doors, this is the Zuteng Yingzhao. This is the ancestral eagle claw. And they're very passionate and very, very firm about their position on this. That's why all eagle claw is good. All eagle claw is good, because we're all the same family. Different people, different emphasis, different skills, different abilities. It's all good. Yeah. But my Shifu is very, very firm on this. He says, no, ours is the Zuteng Yingzhao. So we're different, a little different. Yeah. And everybody would say, we're a little different. And everybody would say, we've got our own specialities. Absolutely. Everybody's got their own, and it's all good.
Does it still retain that military, no nonsense, battlefield essence to it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The fighting methods, approach, the stepping methods, the striking methods, the seizing and catching methods, the dim-up usage, how you're using the fingers in the clawing, I haven't seen anywhere else. That's not to say it doesn't exist anywhere else, and I'm sure it does. Certain stuff is only taught to people within the family that you know well. So it's the same for you guys with your Sifu as well. There's material that he teaches you that he won't show publicly or teach publicly, because it's family stuff. So, all the eagle claw people I meet, they're all my relatives. They're my cousins, uncles and brothers and sisters and what have you. I'm fortunate, I'm very lucky that the family in Foshan really took to me, and I really took to them as well. The Dasibo, Daisiba, Mr. Zhang, so sweet, so lovely, really close to my heart, and all his family are very close to me, so we're very open with our discussions. But I'm still not allowed to talk about certain things. My Sifu has said, nope, you don't talk about that. This is our village family. You do the baisha, you have to follow the wuda. Yeah. The baisi, the moda. You can talk about this, you can talk about that, you can't talk about that. Okay, I can't talk about that. No problem. Everything else is open. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really interested in seeing a lot more of eagle claws, takedowns and joint locks. That would interest me as a grappler as well. Seeing some of the traditional methods from the northern styles. We have it in the haka arts, but I do want to see more of that. So if one day I'm going to have to catch up with you and
Yeah,
for sure.
we'll come and visit again.
What might be worthwhile saying is that the eagle claw system has 3 pillar forms, three core essential routines. One is called Xingchuan, in Cantonese are called Hankun Suplo, the 10 roads of eagle claw. That's 10 long lines of material, which you could call the mother of the system.
Right.
From the 10 roads is another routine taken out called Lianchuan Wushi Liu or Linkun Nsuplo, the 50 rows. They're short lines. They're a series of short, tight techniques practiced on left side, left side, turn around, then change the technique and movement, and then come back. You go backwards and forwards 50 times.
Wow.
So those are all the fighting techniques that are taken from the 10 roads, which is the mother of the forms. From the 50 rows is a 2-man routine called in Cantonese Yatling Bak Ham La Sao, Yiling Ba. I still have to work. I spent so much time talking Cantonese, getting my mouth around Mandarin is still hard work. It's what they call 108 2-man form. And people look at it and say, oh, it should be 108 grabs and locks. And no, yeah, it's not. It's actually to teach you how to join and connect, neutralize and dissolve and flow between moves. So it's like Taiji Toisho. It's like 2-man holding hands.
Right.
I think I saw. I think I've seen a video of it, and I think it might have been Li Lao, or I remember reading an article. And again, you know, when I used to read Martial Arts Illustrated, Inside Kung Fu, Li Lao was. You'd see a lot of the Lao family with regards to eagle claw. So some of the information I have is based on kind of that old reading as well. But I did see an 108 2-man form.
Yeah, so it's not 108 joint locks or 108 this. It's really about learning to connect, listen, flow, neutralize, dissolve, set up into locks.
And footwork as well.
Yeah. We have 9 specific stepping methods within eagle claw family. The Zuting has nine stepping methods.
Right.
So footwork is very important because they say the feet open the doors for the hands to enter.
Yeah.
And the footwork is key. But if you look at a lot of modern people or modern martial arts people, they don't know how to use their feet. Not even so much as in stepping, but they don't know how to use the arches of the foot. And I say arches because there are 2 arches in the foot. That everybody thinks about the front to back. Well, what about the side to side?
Right.
So if you're doing that, pronating and supinating, and you're not maintaining structural integrity down through the ankle, then the Yongchun point doesn't get properly stimulated in the sole of the foot.
Yeah.
People are either collapsing in, collapsing out. And then people, you'll notice, don't rotate or turn on the 3 pivot points in the feet. So you can tell whether there's spirals actually taking place through the legs or not, which then dictates whether there's spirals coming up into Mingmen, around the spine and up through into the hands. So that's why we say, and it's it's a common Chinese term, power in the feet is expressed in the hands.
Yeah. Directed by the waist, into the hands, But that's actually a very good description you've just given, because even there's a simple warm-up exercise that we do, you know, the flicking and pressing that we do, Nish. And that's exactly what it's designed for, is the spinning of the feet, so you can switch your footwork while you're rooted and connected. So you've got that energy, so there's no loss of that energy in the transition. But good explanation, you know, nice.
My understanding and knowledge of body mechanics come from my other teacher, Dr. Kenneth Fish from America, who's not an osteopath. What's the other one?
Chiropractor.
Chiropractor. And his teachers, because when he was in Taiwan, he learned old Lohan Shaolin boxing and Xingyi Tuan, and then also went on into Wuxing Tongbei to help develop more elasticity and open up his Xingyi and make it smoother. So he has a very deep understanding of the structural integrity and body mechanics that take place through the body. And I base all my knowledge on and development and understanding of body mechanics from Ken Fish. He was instrumental in my expanding knowledge of the body, physical structures and how they work. You know, we expand, contract, we rotate, you know, torque, thrust, compression, all that sort of stuff. Although he's specialized in Xingyi, Tongbei, Lohan, Shaolin, I only learned certain skills, methods, and principles from all those three areas from him. So he's a very kind and very generous teacher, and then said, okay, right, your eagle claw is your primary. Here's things from the Lohan Shaolin boxing that will help improve your footwork and stepping. Here's stuff from Xingyi Tuan that will help develop and expand upon your striking. And here's stuff from Wuxing Tongbei that will help develop your elasticity. And those really helped my understanding and improvement within eagle claw. Stuff that wasn't available to be taught from the Hong Kong branch, purely because it's different in their thinking and their approach to things. So that was really, really useful. So for me, the circles and spirals move in straight lines, and how to make all those things work, move from the inside to the outside. So a common thread that you guys probably don't know is that your Sifu, myself, and Jim Uglow share a same teacher.
That's interesting.
Master Ji from Hangzhou. Have you heard of Master Ji?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you have to talk to your Sifu about him.
Yeah.
So Master Ji is an amazingly lovely man, really fantastic. I've been studying Tai Chi with him and bits and pieces since the early 90s as well, because he lived in England. So while I was doing Northern Shaolin, I was also studying Tai Chi from him. He, whenever I speak to him, because I'm still in touch with him now, he always asks about your Sifu and also Jim. Yeah, so I think both Paul, myself, and Jim learned the Ba Ji Chuan, 8 extremes boxing routine from Master Ji.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and I think maybe you possibly correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not 100%. But I think your Sifu learned Xingyi from Master Ji and also some other bits and pieces.
Interesting.
So that's where my internal training came from, but also from Ken Fish, who has a lot of deep Qigong and Neigong skills as well, from his old Lohan boxing and Wuxing Tongbei. And all of those things have only gone together to help my eagle claw, always trying to improve my eagle claw. So
does eagle claw have intrinsic internal elements to it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We have our own Neigong, we have our own Qigong as well, our methods. Some of the basic exercises with Neigong combined with movement and popped grabbing and lifting are in the online Eagle Claw program, which I've put together during this lockdown. Brilliant.
Yeah, we'll try and get more information about that later and let people know about that.
So what would you say are the key forms of Eagle Claw, and what do they teach?
Those 3 forms that I just discussed a little while ago, right. The 10 rows, the 50 lines, and the 2-man routine. That's really the heart of the system. Wow. So we train large frame to stretch the body, make it very supple, pliable, elastic, with what people would say are classic looking northern routines or northern forms. But also a lot of the Ji Bengong is about developing pliability, flexibility, so that as you start to generate more and more power throughout your movement through Fat Ging, the shock power, you can condense that down but it keeps the body very loose still. A lot of people get very tight.
Right.
Whereas you want to be able to, apply those torque, thrust, expand, contract body mechanics in things.
Yeah.
So we start large frame, then middle frame, and then small frame. And the small frame is all the really small stuff. It's all the good fighting skills in there.
Yeah.
A circle dissolves a straight line cuts a circle. But I was listening to a podcast, or I was watching one of your Sifu's videos, when he discussed the notion of blocking in Chinese martial arts. There is no such thing as blocking, and I agree with him absolutely. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's a complete misunderstanding. People say block. No, it's not. It's either attack or get out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is no such thing as blocking, and I don't hear many other Chinese martial arts people talk about that. So excellent, really good.
Yeah, it's something he's always saying. He's like, there's no blocking. You either attack or you move. Just move.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Just move.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that. You have to commit all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, just step out the way, step off the line.
Yeah.
Draw them in, go around in a circle.
That's where the skill comes in with footwork and things like that. People, you need to put the time in, and that's the methodology, isn't it, that you use instead of having to clash and block.
Yeah,
it's a way of kind of not being there or being there when they don't want you to be.
Well, even if you're moving something out the way, it's breaking. Yeah, this is not a block. This is, I'm attacking your yut points.
Yeah,
or I'm attacking your bones or your joints.
Yeah.
So you want to break things, or it's a movement that they say is a block. It's not. It's an attack.
Yeah, attack the attack.
Yeah. Destroy the bridges.
Have you found any similarities between your family style of eagle claw and any other kung fu styles or any other Hakka arts? Is there anything where you've been like, oh, I've seen that before? Or it's very similar.
Yeah, I mean, in the northern styles, we all look slightly the same. Large frame, small frame. So you could say that the Zuting looks more like Xingyi. The ancestral eagle claw is much tighter and smaller, like Xingyi.
Yeah.
But it has the same softness, pliability, and flexibility of larger frame northern styles. But even the Xingyi that Ken Fish does is very soft. So I would say eagle claw is a hard, soft style. But if you do a spectrum width, one extreme is extremely hard, one extreme is extremely soft. In the middle is the interchange between the two.
Yeah.
So it would be a hard lending to the softer side.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question. Do you see eagle claw as a hard or a soft style? But you just answered that. So
okay.
Yeah, a good description I've heard when we're talking about Mantis was like hard when it needs to be, soft when it needs to be.
Absolutely. So even on when just showing that move there. So we cut here, move. This one side is yang, one side is yin. Where is the yin and yang at the moment in time that you're moving? And then where does it go to? So if I'm using this part of my arm here, this side is yang, this side is yin. And then if I want to go back the other way, flip it round. That way. Then where is the yang and the yin in the fingers and in the hands? There has to be this interplay and change all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you'll see, I mean, I think that within all good Chinese Kung Fu at a good level, there's common ground, common principles. You start doing the same things, and if everybody's at the same sort of point, then it's the same.
Yeah.
Everybody says Hongar is a hard style. No, it's not. It's soft.
Yeah. I agree. I think a lot of systems that are seen as hard and very soft elements, systems that seem soft or are described as soft, also can be quite heavy and hard, you know.
Well,
And
Tai
it's
Chi,
when you get to that level.
Tai Chi is iron wrapped in silk, isn't it?
Yeah. If it's done properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's both heavy and light, and it's both empty and full. And we have to have all of those attributes within our own systems to be able to make them function properly.
Yeah. What would you say is the main method of power generation in the style?
We use binging, we use whipping energy, we use and something that you guys will know, swallow and spit.
Yeah.
So, we have the same idea inside.
Yeah.
You have to be able to expand and contract the body in three dimensions. What are the principal powers in terms of you need to be able to exhibit hard and soft simultaneously. Power comes from the back, driven from the feet up through the legs. It's the same thing, out through the hand. My view is that the power comes from the back and underneath the body all the time. It never comes over the top. It's always coming from underneath.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Structure, body structure. Do you have the same thing with the tilted sacrum?
Well, you've either got the pelvis is either tilted, and I know that in some of the southern styles they call it a shrimp.
Yeah.
Back, where the top and the tailbone and the neck are really curved.
Yeah.
Our pelvis is neutral, but the spine stretches in two directions, rotate around the central vertical axis.
Yeah.
The spine only has a few jobs to do. The spine goes up, down, forwards, backwards, round and round. That's your vertical axis.
Yeah.
And then the horizontal axis is through the shoulders and hips, and that rotates on the horizontal axis. You can fold through the qua area, which is folding the body, which in like Xingyi and Pituan, you fold through the qua.
Right.
Yeah, it's straight spine. Pelvis is tilted to neutral, neither forwards nor backwards.
Yeah.
Rotate the dantian a lot. Rotate the dantian and cycle everything around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because it would have had that internal element of the cycling of the chi is a major kind of. I mean, it's in some systems when they don't even realise as well, just through the body structure and the kind of breathing methods. It's happening. It's a natural process anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely. Sorry about that. It was an alarm going off.
Don't worry.
When you practice your forms correctly, your heat comes up anyway.
Yeah.
You know when you're doing it right because the triple burner comes out halfway. Yeah.
Yeah. And really mild, fine sweat that comes out. Not big droplets as well.
There should be like a moisture and a sheen on the skin.
Yeah. Interesting. That they say that you should let that dry off as well, that one, not shower and wash it off. Let it dry back in and then have your shower.
Well, the reason for that is because we're talking about cold and damp through the meridians and the acupoints.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is not put cold and damp on the skin when the pores are open and the acupoints are open.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the cold and damp penetrates in and that's really bad for your health.
Yeah.
As one thought, I'm sure there's other reasons as well.
It was my main one was like I was told is to when you're doing that kind of internal stuff and that fine mist comes up, it's like full of chi, so you let it reabsorb and then do it. But the damp and cold is essential one as well because all your points start to open up as well.
That's right. The same as swallowing your saliva 3 times, sending it down to your dantian after you've done your qigong.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people don't actually get into the chi that deeply. The chi training, but that kind of leads on a bit to the medicines. Do you have lots of medicines and gels and?
Yeah, Yeah, I do have. I have a lot of didajao. I have full guok jiao, which is for internal training. I have the medicinal pills for healing internal injuries. I was fortunate to study for a period of time meridians, acupoints, and also some medicine healing from a Lohan Shaolin teacher in Hong Kong called Master Ma, who very kindly and very generously gave me the family herbs, which were picked up in the mountains in China. Sent me a load of herbs to make the Lohan didajao, which is very, very, very good stuff. I don't do acupuncture. I do acupressure. I do toina, acupressure, massage, some bone setting as well. So we've got the poultices and herbs, but nowhere near as deep as your Sifu. I mean, your Sifu stuff is exceptional, really good. And I wouldn't even put myself on the same page with his medicine. So I have some medicines, but I don't consider myself anywhere near being extremely competent. I can treat injuries, I can do certain things, but your Sifu's got very good stuff.
Is there a specific school of medicine and healing and massage techniques that comes from your village style of eagleclaw?
Well, in eagleclaw, we need to know all the points on the body because we're using them destructively. So you have to know how to use them for healing as well. So we do have that. Yeah,
brilliant.
Sounds like a good massage with an eagleclaw.
yeah, it really gets to the point.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you do much in the way of conditioning?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that? And I assume is that all body, like arms, legs, whole shebang?
Yeah. Well, see, eagleclaw has its own version of the mokyanzong, which we call a muyanzong, which is the same. We practice cotton palm, not iron palm.
Yeah,
slightly different, but very similar. We grabbing pots, throwing heavy bags of stones to grabbing for the fingers. We've got heavy weapons and things that we use for that as well. So we have got all the conditioning the bridge, conditioning the fingers and the strength, and how to get power into the hands. So yeah, we condition and strengthen the body in many different ways. We've got a whole area for Lingong in my Mogun. So there's cotton palm or iron palm tables.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
So you saw that stuff when you came up last year.
Yeah.
So you know it's here. What are you asking me for? You know it's here.
Julian, the thing we discussed earlier that I found fascinating, we talked about the fist shape and the 5 versus 3 fingers. I've just had a question from Julian saying, I've seen some old kung fu movies with claw-like techniques using 3 fingers and some 5 fingers, calling them eagle claws. Are both correct? Could you?
Yeah. So I know of one guy who was from the movies in North China. And I know that he was in the Jet Li film Shaolin Temple, and he has a routine where he uses three fingers with Northern Body Method.
Right.
But in terms of a complete system using the 3 fingers, the only people I know of and have some link to through Ken Fish and other people I know through Taiwan is the Golden Eagle people from Taiwan, and they do use 3 fingers. And their method is very much like White Crane. They're very Southern style looking as well.
Right.
Whereas the Northern Eagle Claw method is 5 fingers. It's like this.
Excellent. Yeah, it was like an education for me. That's I hope that's answered your question. Yeah, I kind of, for some reason, I had it in my head the other way around. I didn't know enough. Maybe it's too much. Movies. Yeah, that's what it was.
What are some of the key weapons of eagleclaw?
Well, we use staff, spear, broadsword. So we got 6 harmony saber, 6 harmony spear, classic northern weapons really. Nothing really special or unique or you know, like secret. It's just a standard straight northern spear, northern sword, straight sword. We've the dao, the big knife. We've got all of the 3-section stuff, all the sort of classic northern weapons.
What's your favorite weapon to train with?
Actually, I find that just training the 4 basic weapons: staff, broadsword, spear, and straight sword, the gim, each brings its own physical attribute and benefit to you. Some weapons are suited to people with more strength; they're shorter, stockier body. Some other weapons are suited to more lively people. I'm quite lucky in that I'm neither one or the other. I'm sort of in the between. I'm not too heavy, I'm not too light, so I can work nicely with all of those 4 weapons. So we know that the staff, we train the staff, it teaches us the transmission of the fat gang to the end of the weapon. Blunt edge, 2 ends.
Yep.
Broadsword teaches us how to open and close the body and turn, rotate with fast footwork. Spear brings the extension and softer method with the spear, more darting like a snake's tongue. And the gim teaches us very soft skill, because the broadsword is like a butcher's meat cleaver. The gim is like a surgeon's scalpel.
Yeah.
Yeah. You open up the veins, you open up the tendons, and you pierce the organs and the acupoints with the gim. Whereas the dou is you just hack them to pieces.
Yeah.
Out of interest, the spear traditionally used in your village, is it a flexible spear, or is it like a strong, straight, solid bit of wood, or does it have some?
Yeah, I noticed that the spears over the years have got lighter, slimmer, and thinner, and more boing. Yeah, like no, we have like a 9-foot spear, 7-foot spear. They will only flex if you put the right bad ging through them.
Yeah, it's a solid shaft, but got some life in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That seems more like a warlike weapon to me than the really flexible ones, but you know.
The flexible ones are just for performance.
Yeah.
They're just for flash and noise.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the internal and qigong found in the style?
Yeah, it can. I mean, it's qigong is qigong. You know, what are you trying to develop out of it? You've either got the qigong for nourishing the health, then you've got the qigong for training the body. So neigong and weigong, you've got internal and external training. The qigong, I don't say that there's anything special outside of the breathing cycle must be followed. You've got to follow the ren and du, the governing vessels. You need to know which meridians you're opening and closing when you're practicing your qigong. You need to circulate and circle through the dantian. You know, come from huiyin to mingman through to the front point as well and circle there. So you've got the small dantian rotation, you've got the large body rotation, and then you've got the whole from floor to hands up. You do need to know which meridians you're moving into and from. The breathing is, you know, it's this, the qigong is the same, because I've had the good fortune of learning from my Tai Chi teacher and also from Ken Fish. Excuse me, just gonna have a bit of water, getting a dry throat. It's common method, the breathing, the tongue moving up, the tongue moving down, in through the nose, out through the mouth, visualization, following with your mind. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say that there's anything magically special.
Sure.
There's you in Tao Ga Tonglong. You've got your own methods, which are a little different from others. In eagleclaw, we have our own methods, which are a little different from others. But neigong, qigong is the same.
Yeah.
Do you have specific qigong or sets that are focused on building the claw? Like, do you have or is everything kind of already built into the system and training methods that you have?
A lot of it's built within the system. A lot of it's built within the weigong, which becomes neigong. Yeah. So all the pot grabbing. what you have to do is, most people will start on the outside, and over time they learn how to do it from the inside. So you're looking about the tendon activation, because it's the tendons that will sustain you through life, where your muscles get, as you get older, your muscles get tired. Your tendons don't. They don't get tired in the same way. So once you can work internally with the tendons, so a lot of people, when they make a fist, they'll tighten the top part of their arm. Yeah, they'll make the fist by tightening this. Whereas that's the wrong side, because that's double yang. So if we talk about sunny and shady, which is an old term for yin and yang, sunny side, shady side, shady side, yang side, yin side. The minute you make your fist, you're already activating that. That's already yang. So to make the power in your fist is this.
Yeah.
You use this.
Yeah.
The gun. Yeah, the gun. The tendons.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
That enables you to have power anywhere you want in your arm. Yeah. Without going externally.
Yeah.
It's the same, isn't it? Same for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tendon training is fundamental, but and obviously for a system like a clawing system like eagleclaw. So yeah, just fascinated at what other methods you use. You've got the jar, pulling up the jar. You've got. Well, are there any? Do you practice routines of gripping? Like we have like G-leg, just pulling and then releasing. Or just moving the chi in the arms and just to activating the tendons and training them that way.
Yeah, we do have exercises to train the gun, activate the tendons.
Yeah.
So one way we do it is if we look at the furthest internal reach of it. So we would go back to Dantian.
Yeah.
If we want to pull the outside, we don't start anywhere here. We start right inside the body, and then we're trying to draw it in.
Yeah.
And up and up. Then it's there.
Yes.
So then over time you train that internally to move from the inside. Then it's already there at the outside, but it's like you're pulling a thread, and the thread is here. The tendon connects all the way through.
Yeah.
Your breath in the feet. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's a good description as well. Very much.
And then if you do that through the feet as well. So if you do that through the sole of your foot.
Yeah.
Then that comes up the legs, hits the perineal point.
Yeah.
That's why when we were discussing earlier, power in the feet is expressed in the hands.
Yeah. It's like a series of cables and pulleys or threads or whatever. If you imagine that, then you can start the motion to start a pull can start anywhere. Exactly. And it doesn't have to start at the beginning. You just start at the bottom and pull it in.
It draws it in.
Yeah.
One thing that really helped me understand power waves was when I was traveling through China with a really, really good friend of mine called Yarek. You guys probably follow him on Facebook, Yarek. You might know him, Yarek. Anyway, so Yarek does Jiao Bao Tai Chi Bagua, has been studying and researching Chinese martial arts for 25 years, highly educated in language and written, very good guy. So we were talking about skills, methods, theories, history and ideas and concepts and what have you. And that I'd been working on this type of thing. And he said, yeah, absolutely. What this is common standard. But when we say common standard, to whose common standard? It's only a common standard at a certain level of understanding and awareness. So you're either working with gravity and accelerating with it, or you're bouncing away from it. So when it's like the front of an ocean wave, so the very front bit that's traveling up the shore, that's not the power. It's the ocean that's pushing it from behind.
Yeah.
And then when it's ocean pulls it back. So the whole body is like this.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, if we talk about the idea that your martial arts is first on the clothes, it's on the cloth. Then it's the skin. Then it's the muscle. Then it's the blood. Then it's the bone. Then it's the bone marrow. So if we talk about that fluid idea within the bone marrow,
Yeah.
rising and falling like the ocean, then we start to think about, oh, okay, inside the body, deep inside the body.
Yes. Yes. That's very good. Food for thought, definitely.
So what's the kind of first thing beginners will learn in eagleclaw? So what would anyone interested in learning what can they expect from initial kind of lessons?
Horrific stance training. Relentless basics.
Yeah.
Relentless basics.
Is it like to first strengthen the body, get you used to what's coming?
We want to do two things. We want to develop flexibility and suppleness,
right,
and strength. So a lot of stretching we do is range of motion, expanding and opening the body so that it's not static stretching.
Right.
We teach, so to run through it, and this is the stuff that I teach in the foundation course. So there's 10 stances, 10 kicks, and then 5 or 6 basic hand drills and techniques and shapes, which then expand onto a core 10 drills. Yeah. So they learn static positions. From the positions, they go on to single stepping, rotate the foot, step from one stance to another, rotate the foot, step to one stance to another. Yeah. Then you add on a layer of single punch with step, stance, step, punch. Bring them together so that you've got Sun Bokun, hand and fist together. Yeah. Yeah. Then you've got Yuma Hakya, waist and stance together. Yeah. Then you have Song Yu Kwa, which is soften the waist into the kwa. So we're working on these body principles. Yeah. I bang on a lot about the footwork that we discussed quite at the start of this, which is understanding the 2 arches and the 3 pivot and rotation points. Yeah. Body mechanic principles. So alignment of the body, keeping everything straight, working correctly, open and close the ribs as well, expand. That's a little bit later on. But basics is 10 stances, 10 kicks, 10 hand techniques, drill, correct, refine, then work onto stepping stance, then stepping stance and striking, bring those together. And it's layered. It's all layered upwards.
Right. Yeah. Building blocks. So once you've got something, it adds, connects, and then builds on that.
Yeah, it all has to link from one step to the next step.
Yeah.
So even from the start, they'll be doing the Lingong, they'll be doing cotton palm training, they'll be doing iron bridge training, they'll be doing grab throwing. You know, that's all part of the basics. Yeah.
Yeah, but then it builds up. It's like whatever your level is, there's always something more to learn, more to push you as well. Even at, so that you do the basics over and over. You can continue.
The advanced is just done. Is just the basics done to an extremely high level.
Yeah, yeah. Fascinating and similar.
Yes. And that's what I found that good martial arts over the years is there's a common thread between all of us.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with that. I think since me and Nish have been doing these discussions, and I'm listening to some people talk about their systems, and their systems are unique and very have a very good strong identity, and it sounds as if they're just talking about what I do. It's just there's just so many similarities. It's just once you're talking about it at a particular level, it's just the same kind of thing. There might be those little flavors, those little expressions of how you express the energy, or what your favored weapons are, or the techniques, but essentially same.
Exactly. Good kung fu is good kung fu, regardless. Yeah. And this is why I do the UK Kung Fu gathering every 2 years. It was great, Nish, that you managed to browbeat your Sifu to coming up last year. Yeah, and I'm really grateful that you did, as you saw when I said a few words about your Sifu at the party.
You did, yeah. Very gracious, very gracious.
And that's very true. You know, it's just both, and I say the same thing about both your Sifu and also Jim, because and that's why we should come together as much as we can, without ego, without politics, without all that bullshit.
Yeah, totally.
Bring the good people together, because that's how we
can deepen our understanding by just talking about what we have a passion for, just by sharing, because there is that core element. It's just all the same, and that's what we're all striving for, isn't it? We're all going there. I've got a passion. I've got no time for disharmony and politics and nonsense, because it's just a distraction.
It is. Increasingly over the years, I just walk away from people like that. I just walk away. I just haven't
But you can't. We myself and Nisha, trying to do this. We've been doing it for years, building through the Facebook page and trying to engender that kind of ideal, as it were. And you can't like everyone. Not everyone's at the same mental process or thought, and so you don't. There's many more people you can focus on that you can get good stuff back from. So don't waste time.
Life's too short.
It is too short, isn't it? We did touch on. Sorry, Nish. We did touch on. You talked about 10 stances, 10 kicks, 9 stepping methods. How much emphasis is on the kicks within the fighting methods and system?
Well, this is a good question. In so much as all fighting, all good combat kicks is not above the waist; it's all below the waist.
Right.
Mm.
The higher kicks are generally for dissolving throws.
Oh,
Interesting.
So you know the butterfly. You know the butterfly kick that everybody does.
Yeah.
That's not for hitting people.
Yeah, it's for dissolving.
That's for getting out of a throw.
Right.
Which makes sense, yeah.
So if you go back, one of the oldest sort of Chinese martial arts styles is called Shuaijiao.
Shuaijiao,
Yeah. A lot of these kicks are for getting out of throws.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting. So Nish, you're going to be doing butterfly kicks in your jiu-jitsu next.
Exactly.
I shit you not, Sherlock, it works.
Yeah.
If somebody's trying to do a hip throw on you, butterfly kick out of it.
Yeah.
Like the whirlwind kick, Sun Feng Toi. If you're holding somebody's arm, so if I've got your left arm, and your back is here, if I then roll over your back and hold your arm with Sun Feng Toi whirlwind kick, what's going to happen to your arm?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be ripped out of its socket.
Yeah, totally. It's a lot of force there, isn't it?
Exactly. So a lot of these high, what they call acrobatic, remember the word acrobatic, is tumbling, rotating. So a lot of these high kicks are for getting out of throws or avoiding throws. They're not actually for attacking and hitting with. So, an outside crescent kick.
Yeah.
Everybody goes for the height. What's your foot doing as it goes across? It's cutting their leg at their ankle.
Yeah.
And then you can go up and do something else.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So missing the finer points of the beginning, or the subtleties of it.
And this is all the details and stuff that I found in the village.
Brilliant.
It was very, very unique. And it was like, oh, okay, that's good. I've never seen that before. So there's all these little things in the village that I've been learning and over the past years that I've just found to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have much in the way of because I know the eagleclaw, you've got gripping techniques, you've got the joint locks, accommodated with the pressure point strikes, and then you have a lot of the takedowns based on the locking and the throwing and stuff. So do you have much in the way of floor fighting or fighting from the ground?
If we go to the ground, we don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will do everything we can to use correct footwork, neutralizing skills when people are coming in, to not go to the floor. And if we go to the floor, we'll use and do anything we can to be as destructive as we possibly can whilst down there. Yeah. A lot of people, the BJJ is really good stuff. It's a sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sport. It's great. It's very good, effective stuff. But if I fish hook your eyes out or I bite your throat out, what's going to happen then? So this is, when we talk about fighting is fighting, fighting is fighting if you know what you're prepared to do.
Yeah.
If you go back to a battlefield, it's you're dead or they're dead. What are you going to do?
Yeah, yeah.
So we would always try and use our stepping methods. We'll always try and use destructive eagle claw skills to not allow ourselves to get into that position. And if we're in that position, then we've got to go and do something else. Yeah, we've got to go step it up a level to do something else.
Yeah.
And all the throwing skills are not about putting somebody down on the floor. The throwing skills, so you've got wrist locks, elbow locks, shoulder locks, neck and spine locks.
Right.
When I throw you, I want your neck and spine.
Mm.
And I want you to land on that, preferably.
Yeah.
Right.
It's to finish. They're a finishing move.
Yeah.
Not to throw someone down to get them. I mean, obviously for things like judo, jiu-jitsu and stuff, the throws have been modified to land people safely. But
And
that's not the point of a martial art. Yeah. Not the point of a martial art. So lots of twisting and trying to land them on the corners or, you know, the hard bits to damage and finish.
Yeah. I mean, jiu-jitsu, judo, fantastic, absolutely brilliant systems and exceptionally skilled at what they do. All martial arts are good in what they do. And every person who trains with passion, sincerity, dedication, blood, sweat and tears and effort to get good at what they're doing. And I applaud every single martial artist who's working hard.
Mm.
Sure.
Yeah, second that, I suppose.
Can you talk a little bit about the some of the, because it came up as a question actually, some of the training devices or apparatus that are unique to eagleclaw that you have? So you have a wooden dummy, right?
Yep.
And then do you have any specific training tools apart from the jars? I know you've spoken about the jars, but is there anything else that's used to toughen or to build that kind of strength?
Yeah, so we'll use we'll use staffs with wrist turning exercises, pole exercises. We'll use, so I couldn't get hold of them over here. And when I could find them, cannonballs are too expensive. So you get heavy shot put balls, shot put balls. Yeah. One thing I will say, a lot of people talk about fingertip press ups, and they do it like this. I would urge anybody who's doing fingertip press ups like this, please stop.
Yep.
Because you're destroying your joints.
Mm.
All the pressure and load is going against the joint like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yep.
When you do a fingertip press up, the load should go down through the center of the bones, through the center of the joints.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going to use it there, it's got to be straight.
Yeah.
It's never done with that. So anybody who does those kind of press ups, please stop. They're absolutely insane, and you're only hurting yourself. So we have fingertip press ups for developing finger strength. That's why I wanted to mention that. Bags full of stones that we throw and grab with eagle claw. Bundles of bamboo that we'll grab. What else? The mukyanjong, we've got the bridge training, so we're hardening and toughening the bridges. Cotton palm, which is bag slapping.
And is there a specific training for the cotton palm? Like, do you have different sets of like you have sand and then you'll have ball bearings, or is there a specific kind of training set for the cotton palm? Or
yeah, we wouldn't go to things like ball bearings and stuff like that. We use natural things, so we don't work. We won't strike against things like metal.
Okay.
It's unnecessary in our view. We want to be as soft as cotton, as hard as silk. Right. And I mean, you guys have seen these horrible, disfigured iron out of palm.
Yeah.
It's madness.
It is.
Madness.
It's just insane, isn't it?
Just
Some of these guys.
Clubs of flesh, aren't they? They're just like that.
Yeah, just can't use the hand for anything except slapping against a brick. you know.
And totally against what the premise and principle of Chinese Kung Fu is: internal and external. You know, is that's destructive to the body, not nourishing and healing to the body. Seeing those mutated hands and fists, yeah, great, you can punch through a brick. Well impressed. Not
for competition, like, you know,
yeah.
but not life.
Not life, no.
Interesting question from Lionel. He says, you know, when you're doing the bag slapping, I'll take it. You know, if you hit in the tips of your fingers, is it a myth, or can it affect your eyes?
Absolutely, 100% agree with Lionel. I will not hit with your fingertips, and yes, it does affect your vision, and it will damage your eyes.
Yeah.
Wow, good question, Lionel. Thanks for that, and good answer. Thank you for the 100% response.
Agree with Lionel. So when you do your palm slapping, your fingertips should be at the edge of the bag, or your palm, as it hits the bag, it expands. So the power is really up into the fingers and through this area.
Yeah.
To the fingertips. So it's not the fingertips you're striking, it's kind of in the fingers. Now, is it possible to palm slap somebody on the chest, put a bruise on the front and make one come out the back? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to do than you think. If you train the right palm strike,
yeah,
as you hit this is the method that I learned, and I speak from experience because I've done that bruising on people more than once, and accidentally and not known about it until they told me. If you create a vacuum seal with this suction of the palm, as you hit the bag, that expands. What does that do when it hits a fluid-filled sac, which is what your body is?
Right. So it's sending that vibration.
It's a pressure wave.
Yeah.
It's a pressure wave that passes through all fluid organs.
Right.
The blood is fluid, and that's one of the ways that you're doing dimma or you know, bad internal injuries on people. That's the cotton palm method.
And so when you hit in the bag, are you totally relaxed?
Soft with breath, mind, and intention in there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Dave Stevens also, we know, as a healer, acupuncturist. He said the Jingwell points on the fingertips and the yang channels either start or terminate in the head and around the eyes. So it's reinforcing what you've said.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Dave. Dave's got really good acupuncture knowledge, much better than mine. So thanks. That's really good.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, David.
You know, yeah, for myself, Lionel, and for all of us, really. But brilliant answer. Thanks, Dave.
So, how does eagle claw develop in later stages, or how has it developed for you over, you know, the 30+ years? What do you emphasize more on now than you used to, or as you've progressed?
Obviously, when we're young, we just want as much as we can get. We want to just jump as high and fly as high as we can. You know, we're very caught up in the yang energy of our youth. As I've got older and more jaded, I think, gone through in time, I'm working more and more internally to generate more power with less. So I've always been very focused on being very precise in the way that you're doing the movement, so that the correct principles are contained within each thing, which means students learn slower from me, and some get pissed off and frustrated and leave, but I'm trying to actually get them to a higher standard. So some schools will teach you a lot, and then later on they'll try and fix it. I try and fix it at the beginning so that later on you accelerate really fast.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I've always been like that in terms of my own personal skill. Is I'll work and work and work and work on something and continually repeat it, and then think about it. What am I doing wrong? How is it feeling? And then go back and continue. So I do less of the whole system, but more of the heart of the system now. And I teach the whole system, but I have my own set practice. my own set things that I do, which is the 10 roads, the 50 lines, the conditioning, the power training, the Mukyan Zong. That's all I kind of work on these days. The Qigong and stuff like that.
You do the 50 lines. Do you do that as a set in one continuous set, or is it broken up?
You're supposed to. Yeah, and for that reason, 50 lines, it's hard bloody work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Because as you become more tired, you have to let go more. You let go more, which means you get softer.
Right.
And as you get softer, then your speed, because when speed exceeds your level of skill, you've got to slow down and go back over detail.
Yeah.
Then go back up. And speed comes through softness, relaxation, and activation of the right things at the right time.
Right.
Working on the harmony of footwork and handwork, working on keeping the 6 harmonies: hand, foot, elbow, knee, hip and shoulder, all in time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
You brought up actually an interesting point around principles and concepts. What would you say are important principles from Eagle Claw?
Well, we have 7 to 9 principles in terms of ideas.
Yeah.
There's Jiao Da Kam Na Fan Gan Zhuo Guo Dim Yu Bai Hei Sim Jim Tong No. So Jiao is, and again, I'll say that I think many people have misinterpreted it. Jiao is claw, right? Da is hit. Jiao Da is idea, means seize the best opportunity to strike.
Excellent. I like that. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's not grab and hit. It's seize the striking moment.
Mm. But any seizing, any seizing you do you kind of see it as a strike anyway? It has to be done with forceful. It's not just with the intention of grabbing. It's the intention of destruction, of causing damage, of hurting.
Well, the minute you grab something, the pair of you are connected like an umbilical cord.
Yeah.
So if you're seizing to grab something and control it, like I want to hold your wrist, that's stupid, because my hand's committed to your hand and then you're just going to punch me in the face.
Yeah.
So the moment to hit efficiently.
Right.
Yeah? So seizing is only done at the right time.
Yeah.
And it's to give you something else. So that's Jiao Da. Kam Na is Na is actually means seize.
Seize, yeah.
Kam Na, Kam Na is catch and seize. At that point, you're attacking the points. So Kam Na is not for joint locking. There's Chin Na. Chin Na is something else. Kam Na is seize the point.
Yeah.
So Jiao Da Kam Na. Fun gun means to split and separate, tear the tendons, which is done through your grabbing, and how to utilize the digits in your hand. So fun gun, chaw guat is break the bones. Then dim yu, obviously, strike the points. Bai hei means seal the breath. Hei is your breath.
Yeah.
As in seal your own breath, or the opponent's breath?
The opponent's.
Opponent.
Yeah. So it's like blood and breath, isn't it?
Yeah, but to seal the breath, you seal a jar, and now a jar has an empty top. You seal it, but it has a closed bottom.
Yeah.
You've got to seal the top and the bottom, because you close the throat is sealed, but the chi and the breath is still in the body. You've got to seal it in another way that the opponent can't use their breath. So you've got to seal it in 2 points. So that's sealing it. And then sim jim means to evade or dodge. So use your footwork. Tong no means to jump away and jump and use the ground. So those are 7 principles of eagle claw that we apply in our thinking and a methodology.
Oh, I really like that. That was
Brilliant.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So you sent over some pictures. Do you want to? Should we share those and talk about those for a bit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, a couple of them are statement images. The first one with the eagle and the Chinese writing.
Oh, right, yeah.
The white on black.
Let me bring that up. Share advanced. Okay, it's not coming up.
So really, it's this logo here on my chest. For those that people can't see the image coming up yet.
Yeah.
And really, these 8 characters. This is saying that this is the Zuting Yingzhao, ancestral eagle claw family headquarters within the UK and Europe. So I represent the family outside of China. So I represent the ancestral eagle claw method and system outside of China.
You're the sole representative in outside of China.
Yeah, because I'm the first and only Western Baisha lineage accepted family member disciple.
Yes.
We're sharing now. That should come up.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yeah, that's why that's important, and that's something that my teacher wants known, because we are sharing and teaching and passing on the family method from the village.
And those characters are
So you've got eagle claw, Zuting, which is the ancestral, and then headquarters. Yeah.
Right. That's on the left, is it, or?
Eagle claw is. First 2 bottom right. I haven't got my glasses on. And then you've got, so the rest of it all goes together to talk about the Zuting headquarters.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have this.
It's your shrine.
Well, that's the ancestral lineage there.
Yeah.
The top is the founder of our system, and all these people are from our village. I know where their houses are. I know where their graves are because I've been there, paid respects. Yeah. So every single person there. The top one is Liu Shijun. Liu Shijun was the guy who learned the Yushira Sanshou from the 2 monks and then combined it with his knowledge.
Right.
From there is Liu Changyou, which is the first person he taught the eagle claw of his making. From Liu Changyou is Liu Changyou's son, which is Liu Qiwen. I've been to their house. They still own it. His great-grandson is still there. Then from Liu Qiwen there, we've got on the left, looking at the picture, which is actually his right, is Liu Jiangwu. And on the other side, which is the larger head frame picture, is, oh, damn it. That's what I'm starting to, I know who he is, but it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't get it out. Yeah, it's in my head and I can't get it past my lips.
No worries.
And from Liu Jiangwu, which is the head and shoulder picture next to Liu Qiwen, is Liu Shuyun. He's the guy with the beard. This is the disciple line that I'm on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And next to him is my Shufu's grandfather, Yin Yizhang. Yeah.
Mm.
So Liu Shuyun is Liu Shuyun, Liu Jiangwu, Liu Qiwen, Liu Changyou, Liu Shujun. This is my direct line on the right side. If you're looking at the picture, it's left side. So the beard, and then it goes up from there.
How?
Yeah. So what are you? Which generation are you? You're 6th.
6th. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Yeah.
Excellent.
Next picture.
That's my Shifu, my teacher there, Chen Junxin.
Very powerful.
Yeah, you guys met him last year when I brought him over to England. Yeah.
Yeah. He's very powerful in the way he moves and stuff. You can just see it.
Yeah.
Any
It ain't pretty, but it's pretty bloody good.
Yeah.
any interesting stories like a funny story or thing, a story that like stays in your mind about training with your Sifu?
It's painful.
Yeah.
It's just painful. He's a pretty serious guy. We're of a similar age, and we've had a very similar journey in things that we've talked about through our Yunfan and things like that. He's a very serious guy, very, very dedicated, extremely passionate about his family's eagle claw, our family eagle claw, very dedicated to it. Doesn't give a shit about anything in terms of, if you're not right, just walk away from you. It really doesn't care. He's only interested in passing on the system in its entirety. He does laugh. He's quite funny.
Yeah.
Very, very strong. Very, very powerful. And a source of inspiration for me in eagle claw. His eagle claw is exceptional. Exceptional. It doesn't look much, but his eagle claw is just, everything I ever wanted in eagle claw, he's got it. Everything you read about in stories in terms of being able to do things with eagle claw, his power level in his hands are phenomenal.
Wow. Any light bulb teaching moments from him where you were like, oh my god, like?
Yeah, I think light bulb moments. When he was teaching how to fun gun, split and separate the tendons, and how you use your hands and fingers, it was like, wow, okay, that's a game changer. I think because so much stuff I've learned from him is all the keys to the old system. Everything is a game changer. Everything has been so wow, that's how that works. That's how that's supposed to be. Right, that answered that question. Everything got answered. And literally I got, the keys to the system, and it just changed everything.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I'm very happy with everything that I've been doing there and researching and learning about since 2006.
That's excellent.
Your book is well overdue. Right.
Yeah.
And that's from so we have something called the Wu Hu Hui, or Five Tigers Association in the village.
Yeah.
When I did my five famous fighting tigers of eagle claw. So there's a sort of banner called the Wu Hu Hui. When I did my Baisha ceremony, it had to be witnessed by 5 brothers and representing the 5 tigers, and that is that's in my Shifu's house, and those there are representing the 5 tigers.
Right, they come to witness.
Yeah.
Baisha ceremony.
Yeah. So the 5 tigers are past generation, like Liu Shiyan and Liu Zhangwu, Liu Qigwen, and so forth. So 5 famous fighters from the village, and this is historic, memorandumly representing the 5 tigers.
Right.
Right. And this is your
Baisha.
Yeah. Memory. So let's talk about that for a bit.
Okay. Can we take a 5-minute break or a 2-minute break? I absolutely must go to the bathroom.
Yeah, please.
Go.
Just give me 2 minutes.
No worries.
Yeah? Thanks.
Nish, you're on your own, mate. I've got to go to...
Well, I'll keep this up for a bit, and then to the group. Any questions? Any comments? Please. Now's a good time to write them down.
Yeah, we're looking at another 10 minutes or so. If nothing comes through, we've covered all the questions that we had. It's been exceptional.
Yeah,
very, very knowledgeable individual and interesting.
Yeah, I think we've covered most of the questions.
Yeah, I was just looking through tendon training kicks. Anybody that? Let's have a look. Lionel. We've got a couple from Lionel, so that'll be good. Well,
yeah. Hey, Larry. Yeah, nice. Thanks for joining, Larry.
Nice one, Lionel. I'll ask. Yeah, that's a good one. And the heaviness as well, yeah.
Well, this is filled with water, by the way. All right, it was an empty bowl. It's not a bottle of gin. So.
I think we've covered. Yeah, we've covered most of the questions.
Yeah, I think we've
very good.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for giving me 2 minutes. I was going to burst, I think.
Yeah, no worries. Let's have your attention on this. Do you
wanted to talk about the Baisha? Did you want to talk about that? All right. I can only speak for the Baisha ceremony that I experienced. I know that everybody has their own different ways and different families and different methods, but the process of my Baisha ceremony was, you know, that you're always tested for a long period of time before you're invited. And they're always watching and observing. They're always seeing what you're doing, testing your mind, testing your, a lot of testing that goes on. Making sure you are right for the family. Because once you're in the family properly, with the Baisha, that's it, you're in. It's not quite blood in, blood out, but it's as serious as that.
Yeah.
So the 5 brothers were invited, and on the day, so I had to pay for all of the ancestral altar table offerings, buy everything, so that had to be done. No meat for 24 hours, no alcohol, no sex, no swearing. Got to keep the mind and the head pure and everything clean.
Yeah.
Have the hangbao, red envelopes ready, and the Baisha was done in 3 stages. Incense was burned, and it's not the sort of incense that we see a lot around with us over here, which is what they call a sweet stick incense.
Yeah.
Theirs is like a very finely rolled paper. I've not seen it before. So it's still an incense stick, and the paper, the incense, it's not paper. It's an incense stick, but it's something I've not seen elsewhere. You have to pass through 3 gates. The first one is, so my teacher, we kowtow to Yufei, yeah, or Guan Yu,
yeah,
both sort of idea here. The incense has to burn, because it's a paper. It can go out easily. It doesn't burn constantly like the sweet incense stick. It can go out. The incense sticks, when there's a bundle of them, it has to burn with a good flame to 3/4 of the way down.
Wow.
Then my shruv turned to the five tigers, the 5 witnesses, and asked each one individually, "Are you happy? Do you agree?" That stage is accepted. So what my shruv would say is, if the flame goes out and it stops burning, Yufei says no, you go away, come back.
Wow.
Wow.
There's 3 stages, three gates, 3 doors you have to go through. So as it's still burning at 3/4 of the way down, my shrivel turns to the 5 brothers saying, "Are you happy?" One at a time. "Do you agree?" They all have to agree, and they can all say no. And any one of them can say, "No, I don't agree," and that's it, finished.
Right.
So past the first gate, got through the first door. The next one is to Liushurjan and down. Direct lineage of past masters. And it's the same process. The incense sticks have to burn down with a constant flame. And he's watching, literally standing there watching the flame. Well, we're all standing there watching the flame going,
yeah.
Don't go out. You know.
How long does that take?
I guess about 5 to 8 minutes.
Right.
You just have to stand and wait and watch.
Feels like hours though.
It felt like days.
This is massive, right? This is
Yeah.
an official. You officially becoming part of the ancestral
Yeah.
village
Family.
core
Yeah.
country. It's huge.
Yeah. And this is most people. I mean, I haven't talked about this stuff publicly before.
Mm.
Not like this in detail, because we're all kung fu people. It will mean more to. We'll understand more.
Wow.
So yeah, it is. I am in the lineage.
Yeah, amazing.
And most people, when they do baisha, is just like, here's a cup of tea, here's a hongbao red envelope, kowtow, you be a good boy, you do as you're told, give me a load of money, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And that's what we see a lot in Hong Kong these days.
Yeah.
I know it's not the same with your family. I know that it's very serious with you guys as well. I know with Dave as well, same serious. So we have the same thing. But this was, I'd never seen a process like this before. I know that different groups have different ways. So just, I don't want to detract too much from it. The first one was Yufei. Burned down 3/4 of the way. All 5 brothers agreed. Passed the first gate, through the first door. Okay, next stage was to Liu Shijun, the founder of our system, and the ancestral line directly from them. Same thing, burn the incense, put it in the pot, and wait for it to burn down. Turns to 5 brothers. Are you happy? Do you agree? Yes, okay, we move on. And the next one is to Liu Shiyun, who is the direct shufu of us, of me and my teacher. And I had to pass that gate as well. Once all of those 3 gates have been passed, or doors have been gone through, that's it. You're in, that's it. You've been accepted on all 3 spiritual levels, or energetic ancestral transmission levels. The founder, Yufei, the Liu Shijun, the Liu Shiyun. Yeah, so then there's all those. But that wasn't it. After that, right.
Oh, more.
Hongbao. Yeah, there's more. You've done the hongbao, you've done the tea, which I'm showing here. Then it's bao to, because the other stuff, I've very luckily got all of this on video as well.
Brilliant.
There's a lot of kowtow going on. There's a certain way to approach the table that I've not seen elsewhere, and they have very strict rules and regulations on this. So after that, I take everybody out for dinner, all the 5 brothers, give out more hongbao, more lucky money, you know, and it's a good night, good party after that. So out of the 5 brothers, I'm actually their sihing, because not all of those 5 brothers have done the baisha.
Incredible. That's quite. It sounds like a very old tradition that's been maintained and kept.
Yeah.
But it seems like in that village as well, to still have the books, to still have the manuals of the system, to still have the original kind of material. Seems like they've been in like an oasis and untouched by the Cultural Revolution and all the rest of it.
You can see
very unique.
Shaolin went there, right? You can see.
Yeah, but there was something else I had to do the next day, which I didn't know about. So then the next day, I had to go to the graves of Liu Shiyun, Lin Jizang, and Liu Qiwen.
Right, three.
Yeah, and I had to burn incense, and this time it was me doing it and putting it in as the offering at the grave.
Right.
Wasn't my Shifu. He said, no, it's your turn. You have to do this because Shifu Liu Shiyun, he has to be happy. He says, it's okay, but he has to have the final say. I was like, I thought last night was the final. No.
So you had to burn incense on each of the graves, and they had to burn down as well?
I only had to burn incense on Liu Shiyun.
Right.
Because he's the direct teacher for us.
Right.
Past, yeah. So I understand that it's past, and this makes it an even more unusual baisha all the way through. So when I burned the incense, so I had to pour alcohol, put fruit on the grave, got all photos of this as well. Put the incense in, and we just stand and wait. And the most incredible thing was, most incense kind of burns down evenly, yeah?
Yeah.
This didn't. It didn't burn down evenly. And then my Shifu said to me, he said, hey, look. I said, what? He said, I'm very happy. I felt like saying, thank God for that.
Yeah.
I said, why? He said, look at the incense. he said, the incense is not burned down flat. He says it's burned in a curve. What does this mean? He said it means that Liu Shuyuan Shifu is smiling.
Oh, wow.
How interesting. Really
Shifu is happy. I'm very happy.
Brilliant.
good news.
Yeah. And that's a very private moment I've shared with you guys.
Yeah, no, and everyone else.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's just
No,
gone
I
viral, isn't it?
appreciate that. That's really that's a really good insight into
really
that
interesting.
ceremony stuff. Appreciate
But
that.
you mentioned there that things have been kept in the old family.
Yeah,
That's the point. That's the point, that things have been kept there and they haven't moved outside the family, and they haven't moved outside the village, and that's why it's so special, so unique.
yeah.
And I consider myself, one of the luckiest eagle claw people in the world to be accepted into their family, because there is stuff there that is so special.
That's amazing. We're lucky enough to hear and learn of it, so thank you.
And I think going through a ceremony like that with so many layers and it gives it a greater impact, a greater significance, and a greater meaning, doesn't it?
Well, it's part of the history and part of the culture. It's great to be a part of that and part of the family. So wow.
Thanks for sharing that.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
So you now have an online, a new online teaching portal, right?
That's right. So one of the jobs that I have, and one of the undertakings I promised my shifu to do is to help bring out the system of our family and bring out our family name.
Yeah.
So over this lockdown, and this is a world's first online eagle claw platform. Over this lockdown, I've provided lots of instructional videos for my students.
Yeah.
So I've put all of those videos together with commentary as if I was teaching my students. And these are the foundation skills. This is not application. This is not how to use eagle claw. This is how to train the basics.
Yeah.
Because without the basics, without the foundation, you've got nothing.
Yeah.
So here I teach 10 stances, 10 kicks. There's 14 hand drills. There's some of the basic lingong, conditioning, bag grabbing, bamboo, and this kind of stuff. A warm up and other bits and pieces, and some neigong training exercises. So it's a complete foundation platform with which somebody can start to learn the basics of eagle claw. Of course, to go on and develop eagle claw, you need the keys, and you need to know how to take the next stages to make this stuff functional to a greater degree. But a lot of stuff can be learned. For guys that know Kung Fu or know martial arts at a reasonable level, can figure out how to take a lot of the things from it, which is great. For people that don't know eagle claw, then it starts to give a good flavor of the system. So that's one of the things that I'm tasked with doing, is help bring the Zhu Ting Yingzhao, the ancestral family, out, so that people know who we are.
Brilliant.
We'll share those details when we post this on the group and on YouTube as well, so that they
Thanks,
get.
nice.
So we're coming up to the 2-hour mark.
Fabulous.
It's been and it's gone so quickly, and there's still so much to ask. But we do have a couple of questions that I want to cover, just because it's still online. So we've got a question from Stephen. A lot of these arts are dying out. Are the younger generation in the village taking up eagle claw?
Well, yeah, absolutely, because they have nothing else. It's all the kids learn eagle claw there. It's their inheritance. It's in their blood. So they're learning it. They're taught it, and for most of them, they don't have much of a choice. The village is a very remote farming village. You go off the tarmac and you're onto dirt roads, and when it rains, it's awful out there. It's horrible, So they don't have much else to do. It's what they do. So everybody's learning eagle claw out there. Everybody.
And they're doing it from a young age as well. I mean,
yeah. Like my teacher's son, before he could walk, he was being taught. My teacher's daughter, they learn. So yeah, the system is very protected and very, very much alive in the village, which is wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. Another question from Lionel. Mindfulness and meditation techniques found in eagle claw, are they techniques such as sitting meditation?
I can't say that I've learned lots of sitting meditation, mindfulness, kind of Buddhist practice or anything like that from my teacher. Yeah, we do have stuff like that where it's just like qigong meditation practice, but it's, you know, the system is the big focus. That's what the focus is in the village. I do teach a lot of that through my own personal stuff and my own work. I teach things called breathing space for the mind, and I teach, you know, other practices which I think are important to us as human beings, in that, you know, heart, mind and body, we need to develop all three areas. Yeah, so, but not particularly, no, because when I'm there, I'm focused on eagleclaw.
That's it.
One other question from Lionel as well. It talks about developing the heaviness of the limbs, such as in Mocho, as your good friend Sifu Bill and Sifu Sean have frightening ability to make limbs heavy or extremely light, as if nothing there. And also witness this with making the body light. Do you have methods for increasing that?
Yeah, all of that comes through learning how to, if we go back to what I was saying earlier about working with and accelerating with gravity, and then expanding away from gravity, understanding where yin and yang is being applied in the body, in the arms, how to drop and then bounce up lightly. We do have the skills in eagleclaw, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, we do.
It's kind of a natural development through the learning again.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is. You know, you've got chunging, inch power, bang, should be there. You know, when you down, and then when you lift them, yeah, when you float people, people. So when you're grabbing sharply, that drops them. That's in the fingertips. Yeah, that's on the chunging, sinking energy. Yeah. But you can do that in the arms, and you can float people as well. So what I was saying earlier about power from the floor up through the body, like an advancing ocean wave.
Yeah.
The tip of the wave is here, but the ocean is behind it. And then when the ocean retreats, it pulls it back. Move from the inside out, accelerate and slow down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that answer? I hope that
answers. It does indeed. I hope anyway for Lionel. I hope that answers your question.
So we're at time, and
that's it,
we've covered so much in a short space of time, and we could probably go on. But from my side and Alex's side, Sifu Julian, honestly, thank you for taking the time out to talk to us. Thank you for taking the time out to share with the group, share some of your personal journey and your Baishi ceremony. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot about eagleclaw that I didn't know before. And you've given me food for thought for my own training.
Yes, I agree with both those.
It's always one of those things, like, you know, like I was saying, it's like a virtual yumcha. Sometimes you'll learn just by talking with people of like-minded passion. So for that, I thank you as well. It's been great. Thank you.
Same applies to me. Thank you very much for doing this, and thank you very much for the information that you've shared. And it has given me food for thought, for certain.
I think that for Chinese martial arts to prosper, we must be more open-hearted and more open-minded.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that if we share sincerely our journeys, our past, the things we've learned from a non-egotistical point of view, we should start to see the common thread and the common trend between all our arts.
Yeah.
Which will encourage more people who watch these videos. Oh, there's something happening across all the systems. There must be something more. I'm interested now. I want to go and find more.
Yeah.
So hopefully it will help spread traditional Chinese martial arts to a wider audience.
Yeah. One family.
That's right. Yeah.
You know?
Totally agree. So, you know, that's another reason why I do the UK Kung Fu gathering, to bring everybody together. You know, harmony through unity is strength. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we'll be there for the next 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm hoping that we can encourage your Sifu to be as generous with his time again and come not an hour late next time.
I'll make it happen.
But I'm also really hoping that Dave, it would be lovely that if you're back from travels, and hopefully you'll be in the UK next October. We missed you last year, definitely. And hopefully we can encourage Sifu Jim Uglo to join us next year. It'd be great to see him again, because your Sifu and Jim, you know, they're like the generation before myself and Dave, because, you know, Dave and I are sort of around the same time we were out in Hong Kong. I hope that's fair to say, Dave. I'm not stepping on your toes too much in making that statement. But, you know, Jim and Paul, they're the generation, they're the guys that I look up to.
Mm.
So, no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for allowing me to share some of my
our pleasure.
knowledge and ongoing learning and journey. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. And wish everybody a great time. Practice hard and do good Kung Fu.
Yay. Okay. 1 second.